back for another Talk About It Tuesday. And again, we have a great question. I'm going to read the question for you and jump right into it. The question is, what or where is the best place to allocate money for when you have multiple goals? Examples: emergency fund, weddings, gifts, vacations, etc. That's a great question, and I get that a lot. It's like, well, I have a limited budget. How do I allocate money, according to my budget? And I'm going to shoot that whole process down because I think it's really backwards. One of the fundamental aspects of financial freedom is designing the lifestyle of your choosing. And I think most of us have been raised to settle for the life that we can afford. So, what does that mean? You're taught to go to school, get an education, get a job. Once you have a job and you know what income you have, create a budget and don't live beyond your means. And I agree you shouldn't live beyond your means, but it's a backwards design process. That design process says this is all you have to work with. Whatever you can do with that, do with that. And financial freedom says this is the life that I want. And so let me give you an analogy. If you look at an architect doesn't go out and buy the materials first. They don't get a pile of bricks and steel and wood and nails and say, okay, I'm going to build whatever I can with this. What does an architect do? An architect creates a plan, a drawing. They have a vision. They design it exactly the way they want it. And once they do that, then they get all the materials that they require, right? And they raise the money to do that. They get the right people in place to build it. They make sure that it's a sound plan, and then they build it exactly to the specifications. And so it's only this weird process that humans have, and I think it's a new phenomenon, that we get a job first that doesn't make sense and then try to live a lifestyle. So how backwards is that? Why would you take that job? That's a waste of your time. And I know this sounds kind of crazy to a lot of you because that's just the way we've been raised. The design process has to start early, and you can do this with your kids and your loved ones. Start it early. Don't let them just get a job. That is a waste of time. That is a waste of effort. That is a waste of resources. That is a waste of energy. And ultimately, it is a waste of life. So we got to get off of that model of, okay, I only have a little bit of money and I want to do a lot of things. No, if you want to do a lot of things, do a lot of things. But that means you have to meticulously plan for those things. And so the first process in terms of financial freedom is sitting back and contemplating the life that you want to live. That means really sitting down, taking a moment and saying, if money was not an issue, right? And most of you haven't done that. If money was not an issue, what would I want to do with my time? How do I want to live? Where do I want to live? Because you have the ability to do those things. It's just now not allocating the little bit of money you have. It's allocating your time. It's allocating your resources. It's allocating your network towards that specific goal. Um, so it's really important to do that. So, okay, let's say you are stuck with a limited budget. And the question was emergency fund, gifts, wedding, and something else, right? So first of all, if you don't have money, you shouldn't be getting married. And I know it's hard for people to say because I went through the same thing. When you're young, you spend a ridiculous amount of money on a ceremony, a one-day ceremony. You blow tens of thousands of dollars on a one-day ceremony when that money could have been used for something else. But that's a whole nother video. Won't get into that because that's emotionally driven, and it's cultural, and it's all these other things. However, of those things that were listed, your emergency fund comes first. And what is an emergency fund? Some of you use your credit card as your emergency fund. A credit card is not an emergency fund. An emergency fund is money that you need for an emergency because emergencies do happen. A couple of years ago, there was an article in the Atlantic, and it talked about the average family not being able to come up with $500 in a week in case of an emergency without having to sell something. And if you're in a situation like that, then you're in trouble because emergencies happen. So an emergency fund should minimally cover 3 months worth of your regular expenses. So if your monthly expenses are $5,000, then your minimal amount of emergency fund should be $15,000. So it's not what your monthly income is, it's what your monthly expenses are. And I say 3 months. There are some people who say up to 6 months. I believe that you can turn things around, get back on your feet within 3 months, unless it's a catastrophic injury or a serious illness, and then it doesn't matter. 3 6 months doesn't really matter at that point. You have to do some other things, and you should be covered in different ways for that. So your emergency fund is primary. If you're living on a budget and you want to live that lifestyle of settling, then it's about prioritizing. So if you and your fiance are not fiscally in a position to get married, then you should put it off, or you should scale down the marriage. If you want to buy gifts, if that's one of your goals, then that means perhaps you sacrifice something else. If gift giving is important to you, then you allocate money there. I just don't understand that concept, that lifestyle, that idea of settling and trying to, piecemeal a little bit of money I have. To me, it's about reorganizing your thoughts, reorganizing your ideas, reorganize your time, reorganize your effort to create the income to live the lifestyle you want. So again, going back, it's designing, it's planning, but it's not just designing and planning, it's putting a dollar amount to it, right? You have to be that specific. So if you say, I want to live in this neighborhood, what are the rents or the mortgages in that neighborhood? If you say, this is the type of diet I want to eat, then what does it cost to eat that type of diet? If you say, these are the activities I want to do, what does it cost? So you have a vivid picture of the lifestyle and the cost to finance that lifestyle. Once you do that, then it's exploring and researching what things can bring me the income that will support that lifestyle. So do I need to start a business? Do I need to own real estate? Do I need to invest in something that gives me dividends? Do I need to create a team of people that produce income for me? What are the things that I need to do? Anything else becomes a waste of your time. If you are engaged in a business entity or engaged in an investment that doesn't produce the type of income that's required to support the lifestyle that you're in, and let me go a step further, if you are on a job that does not produce the type of income to support the lifestyle that you desire, then it is a waste of your time. So I can't really answer that question because my focus, my brain is totally somewhere else. I don't believe in living on a limited budget. I don't believe in settling for the lifestyle that I can afford. I believe in designing the lifestyle that I want and finding a way to fund it. So I can't really answer that question the way I think most of you want it answered. That's the only way I know to answer that question. And hopefully you shift your mindset there, because that's what financial freedom is about. So keep the questions coming, and have a great holiday. I think the next time that I'll be with you, Tuesday, Christmas Day? I think Tuesday's Christmas Day. I'll probably do a short video on Christmas anyway. So if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. If you celebrate Kwanzaa, have a happy Kwanzaa. And I'll see you guys before the new year is out, or before this year is out, and before the new year begins.